Good afternoon, everyone. I know that I talked about doing a chalk couture demonstration and talk about our wood parties and how to make them easier on everyone for this weekend, but I just didn't get the time to do it. They got away from me, so here I am getting it in before actually I have to leave to go on a trip. I'm going to be leaving shortly, but I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. I did want to let you know that Chalk Couture, as of Saturday, has a brand new kit. So if you're at all considering it, the value is over $230. They've added, you get, instead of the 3 pastes, you get 5. And instead of the 5 transfers, you get 8. So along with the really nice frame chalkboard, a smaller magnetic chalkboard, a 50% coupon for your first purchase. What else do you get? Thank you cards, an apron. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff. I'll post it. But now is the time to do it because it's really great. And these 2-ounce jars, we're going to be moving. They're going to be moving in the middle of the month to 3-ounce jars. On top of that, there are like 50 new products they're adding. So I wanted to show you real quick and talk to you the logic behind why I decided to go with Chalk Couture as much as possible. And that was really to save myself time and money. Creating designs, buying designs, cutting them, creating the stencils, weeding them, all kinds of stuff. There's so much that goes behind it. When you add up all the costs to do everything, it's easier just to go with these reusable stencils. So a lot of questions are, you know, what can you use them on? Just about anything. I'm going to go over that. You know, what if I have a party of 10 and I have, you know, how many transfers? Do I have to buy 1 transfer for every person? No, absolutely not. I have a book. I have a couple of books I'll show you, and they choose what they want. I try to go with a theme, but I usually just provide one size board and frame, and they go from there. They do their own thing, which is actually a lot of fun because then you don't have to cut bunches of stencils and have them available. You've already got some ready to go. So I start with the board, and lately I've been doing this 12 by 20 board. It's a pretty good size. And then, as you guys know, I go ahead and cut the frames. So this one would be, it's just a 1 by 2. It's less than $2 for an 8-foot piece. This is a 1 by 2, and I cut it 20 inches long to go on the side, 2 of those. And then across the top, I cut one that's 12, right, for the 12 inches, and then plus 1.5 inches on either side. So it ends up being 13.5 inches. Fits perfectly. All right, so that's all I do. I get the board cut at Lowe's. This is 1/2-inch whiteboard. It's also called birch, but you can see that it is pre-primed. So I go ahead and get this cut at 12 by 20, and then I cut the others, and I literally bring this to my class along with the frames, not assembled. And then I pass out, you know, I show them the colors of paint that they can choose for their background. This is just one I did when I was there at another class. I decided to use the chalkboard paint. So I offer chalkboard paint in case they want to chalk on it and then wash it off and do it again later. That's what is great about these chalk pastes. Although the new ink is going to be it's going to be permanent. This is a semi-permanent, and if you want it to be permanent, you just spray it with polyacrylic. Okay, so I offer this paint, and then I get out a few other paints. And the paints that I use are just flat latex wall paint from Lowe's that I can get for $9 a gallon over in the reject section. And I just pick them up. You know, I might mix and match some other latex from samples in there to kind of get a color. Ones that are popular are black, white, or an off-white. I usually do an off-white. Black, off-white, a gray, and I think teal's been real popular. So then they get a chance to do the board. I have them paint the board with 1 coat and then work on the side pieces on the frames. Oftentimes they do a contrasting color. And then they set these aside. They do 3 sides. And then they come back. At that point, they can come back and put another coat on the background or the main board. And then they flip the board over and do the 4th side and the ends, because we never know what's going to be showing, right? By then, they're going to have a chance to go take a look at my books. And so I have these books. They're just little artist books, and I have put my Chalk Couture stencils that I get in here. See, these have already been cut apart, and they have the backing put back on them. And some of them are new. If I have new ones, if I have older ones, then I try to just bring them. You see, this is an older one with a brand new one behind it. I try to keep the brand new ones out of the mix so they don't open new ones, because some folks think that they need a brand new one. But the truth is, because these get split apart, they're shareable, which is what you want to do. You want to create an atmosphere where people are working together on these designs. They're chatting, they're having a good time. And here's how, like, one of the stencils comes, right? And then you cut it apart. And one person is working on one piece while somebody else is working on another piece. In addition to that, we do a lot of mixing and matching. So stuff, you don't have to use everything from this stencil, or let's pretend this was all on one stencil. You can just block off part of it, and you can use just part of the word, you know, so you can mix and match anything you want to do. And like I said, 50 new designs. Tomorrow is the first release, and then next week is going to be the next release. And they're going to, on top of that, the pricing has been reduced. So these stencils are going to cost less than they did before. And they're going to be very evident in terms of what size they are. Okay, so I have this small book, and then I have this larger book, and I let them use, like I said, whatever they want to use. I do try to keep aside different stencils, like see these back here are brand new, so I will keep those aside unless someone asks for something specific. I thought about categorizing them thematically. All right, so once you use a stencil, you're going to put the backing back on, but sometimes, I quite honestly, I lose the backing or I'm lazy, and I'm just going to stick it to the outside of this, this book because it creates a great backing for it. And then I wash them and I take them home, and that's the end of that. So I'm going to jump right into how it works. And actually, both of these are from the same transfer. Again, just cut them apart, and then, so I'm going to say it's so good to be home, but I'm also going to put some flowers, and this is from the truck add-on transfer. This is supposed to go like in the back of a vintage truck with lots of different flowers. So the people get concerned about, like, how long is this class going to be? This class is going to be just as long as the ones with the stencils that you provide that they have to weed. So if you're going to do a class where it's a stencil that they have to weed, I always make them weed it. It's their job, they can do it. All right, so this is the chalk paste. When you stir it, if you've already received some, just make sure that when you're stirring it, it has the consistency of like sour cream. If it doesn't, I keep this little spray bottle with me, and I just spritz in a little bit of it and stir it until I like the feel of it. Typically what I'll do is I'll open several of them and stir them, get them ready for the people to use them. All right, for the sake of time today, because I'm running low, I'm just going to put some chalk on here, and we're going to work quickly. Now we could do some blending, we could do multiple colors, or we can do an ombre to fade in and out of the color. But we're just going to do one for the sake of time. With these stencils, you want to work at a fairly quick pace. You want to put chalk paste all over it, and then you want to squeegee off as much as you can. And the great thing about it, of course, is we're not wasting it like we do paint. We're just sticking it right back in the jar. And we don't want a thick buildup, so that's why you want to go ahead and squeegee it. Another reason why you want to squeegee it off. There should be hardly any paste left on your transfer. Then we're going to remove the transfer, and you're going to get detail like you would not be able to get with your pre-cut stencils, the stencils that you cut for yourself. This guy is going to go in a bath. I'm just going to stick them in water for our purposes today. I just have, I usually bring one of these throwaway tins. It's going to get a little bath, and I'm just going to wash it off. Then I can turn it upside down and run over the back of it with a paper towel and give it to the next user. Either that or these containers that come from Michael's. They're craft paper. I use these to transport my pastes, and you could use the other side of it. Essentially what is the top. Just remove the top, and that could be your bath for your stencils. That's so easy to do. All right, so I'm done with this. If I wanted to layer something on top of this, or maybe have a design go through it, maybe I want a feather, maybe I want an arrow to go through it, whatever, I'm gonna wait for this to dry. You know as well as I do, if you do classes, that people sit and talk. Like, they waste a lot of time. That's what this is good for, is letting it sit, set up, maybe about 3 to 5 minutes. If you want to, you can accelerate the drying with a hairdryer, which I do sometimes. So I'm gonna put this, the great thing about these is that they're repositionable. You can put them wherever you want. And then if you don't like it, eyeball it, measure it, whatever. If you don't like it, pick it up and move it. Just make sure you get good contact. And, you know, I kind of like to look at it. Maybe I want these flowers. Not sure what I want to do with the flowers yet. We'll see what I'm going to do with them. But I'll put this down first. But that's the good thing about it. Before you remove the backing, you kind of move it around and see where you want it. And one thing that I want to mention, that I mention to a lot of folks when they come to my class, is because this stencil is a full stencil of flowers, does not mean I need to use it. I can make it come off the page. I can use it only half of it if I want to. I don't have to be, you know, I'm not stuck with the whole thing. Actually, I think I'm going to move this because I just had another idea about what I'd rather do. If you are not doing parties, but you're doing, you're selling, this is a great tool because you literally paint your boards and you pick these up. You don't even have to wash them. Pick them up off of one board and move it to the next board and design, and boom, 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 you're done. Now you can use this with latex paint too. You can use it with, let's see, what else? You can use it with etching cream for glass. It won't ruin your transfer. You can use it with ink, anything you want. But this is the founder of Couture envisioned chalkboards when she initially started. We got a lot of other things going on now, but so this is why she came up with the chalk paste. But don't be limited in your mind in terms of what you can and can't use these stencils with. You know, just about any medium, fabric, but you know, just about any type of paint or ink or anything like that as well. Now I'm squeegeeing it off. I'm going to try to get off as much as I can. I'm going to put it back in the jar. And we don't want to wait until this is dry either, because if it gets dry, then the stencil, the reason you're getting such great detail is because there's a silk screen fabric that is cut to give us the design. And if we wait for the chalk paste to dry before removing the stencil, it will dry in the screen, and that'll be bad news. All right, so I have got an issue here because I colored outside the lines, right? So I can wait for this whole thing to dry. I can just go ahead and remove it right now. The chalk paste comes off right away. And so I don't even have to worry about the mistakes that I've made. It's good as can be. All right, so then the next thing I would really want to do is wait for this next layer to dry. And then I'll place my flowers there because I do want to overlap a little bit. But we would wait for it to dry. So let me talk to you just a minute about how the program works. Like I said, it's $99. They've changed the subscription fee too. So it's $99 and you get a kit. Now, people, hey, I just spent $99. Am I going to get anything out of it? First of all, you're going to get all those products for a lot less than I can buy it from, even as a distributor. And you're not going to lose. That's the number one thing. If you join and you decide you just hate it, you haven't lost anything. You have your kit. You don't owe anything. Okay? But the number one, two main reasons people sign up. One, they love it and they just want to get the product for 40% off. That's a pretty good reason, especially if you're making signs. Number two, They want to throw parties and sell products to people while they're there, as well as use them at their parties. And they want it for low cost. So really great reasons to join. Now, I'm not a great, what do they call that? Direct marketing person. So this is a direct marketing company, which means that you can't like just you can't go in and to a store and buy this. Okay, and you do have people that would essentially be on your team. You don't have to do all of that. You do not have to do any of that. You can just buy the product and never talk to anybody if you don't want to. But I will tell you, if you do join a team, you have to have a sponsor. I would love to sponsor you, but if you join my team, I've just started a Facebook group, and we're going to be really building to how do we increase our business with this? What does it look like? Because, yeah, chalking is fun, but what does it look like to be on the other side of this curve, too? Like, how can we really expand this? So that's what we're going to be working on. But you don't have to do anything. You can just join and get you 40% off and never talk to anybody ever again. You can join and be on 3 or 4 months, and if you hate it, you just quit. It's that simple. All right, so I'm going to put my flowers on. I'm not sure it's ready. Let me see. It's actually not ready, but in the interest of time, because I am trying to catch a plane, I'm going to put some of the stencil off the edge. You know, I'm going to put... I just want a little bit of flowers here, but not the whole thing. All right, and then I'm going to show you something I like to do. So let me find a color I love. Oh my gosh, I have so many colors. We'll just go with teal. Pretend teal is green today. Now I could come in here and use a little tiny squeegee and just get areas that I think should be green. Or I can blend everything, or I can do just this one layer with green, get everything that I think should be green, then pull it up, wash it off, wait for it to dry, then come back, lay it over the green areas, and then maybe I'll put yellow in some areas. And then I could wait for it to dry and pick it up and put pink in other areas. You know, I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm working on a schedule here. I got to get the heck out of here. So I'm going to just live by the seat of my pants like I usually do. And we're gonna just put some colors in here and go to town. All right, I'm sure it's going to be just beautiful. Now, as far as mixing colors, you do want to try to avoid mixing colors when you're talking about putting colors back in your chalk paste jar. So if you do have extra color, extra paste, and you don't know what to do with it and it's already mixed, go ahead and get a jar that you can just toss out or collect all your pastes in and maybe make some nice brown or something later. But I'm just going for it. I'm going to pull them all together. This is going to be just a mess. And maybe that's the way you like it. Okay, we have an online catalog. Super awesome. So excited to show you guys the new products we have. And they're going to be doing stuff on tea towels, and their Chalk Couture is going to be selling pillowcases, and just think of all the ways that you can use the new ink that they're going to have to use with all these stencils as well. So let me pull that off, and you see all the great detail that I can get on those flowers that would take me a lot of time to weed if I was actually, first of all, cutting. Okay, so I want you guys to think about that. Think about how much money you spend on a stencil for one person. If this was 12 by 20, you're going to spend about $1 to $1.50 on the stencil itself. Then how long is it going to take to cut it? Let's say you say everybody in this class is going to do It's So Good to Be Home. It's going to take a while for your machine to cut this whole stencil. Then either you are going to weed it or they're going to weed it. And you know, how much is your time worth? So I did a class and I had 12 people and it took me an hour and a half to get prepared. Now I already had everything I wanted for it, but it's just the amount, it's just the cutting and keeping up with, okay, now it's time to feed the next one. And did it cut right? And, you know, mostly it cuts right, so I don't have that problem, but you know, did everybody get their stencil? Did it not go off the edge? And I'm not controlling that anymore. I'm just supplying beautiful designs. And lettering, they can make up their own signs with all the letters that I have. But their own wording, I'm sorry. And I'm just showing up with these stencils, and they are the designers. They are making their own signs with beautiful choices. All the new products, like I said, come out tomorrow. All the new pricing is tomorrow, but the kit itself, the brand new kit, is awesome. It's got a cool wreath in it. But it is available today for $99. And if, like I said, if you want to check it out, let me know. I'll get you signed up. If you just want me to send you a sample, I'd be super happy to do that. Because I know once you try this, you're going to fall in love with it like I did. When the first person, I was really looking for a way to find reusable stencils because I hate the cutting process. You know, I love to design, but I hate cutting them. And I'm never going to get away from it 100%, but at least 80% I am. So how could I do that? And that's how I found Couture. But I came across this woman who was giving me, you know, she was eventually became my sponsor, but I'm such a skeptic and I don't like to spend any money. So I asked her, well, what's it all about? And okay, that all sounds great, but I need a sample because I don't believe it. I don't believe it could be this good. So she's like, well, you're the only person who's ever asked me for a sample. And I thought, well, wow, that's gutsy. I'm always going to try something first. She was good. She sent me the sample. And it was a little teeny tiny flower. And it was so worth my time. I signed up immediately just because I saw the possibilities for me. Is that I could use that one flower over and over and over and over again. So it was super cool. So that is how I do my sign classes now. Most of my sign classes, I'm going to be going to a winery soon, and all I'm taking is those boards and the frames and my stencils and my paste. I'm going to stand there and help people move them from one person to the next, and I might wash them if I need to. But if people need to just move them on down the line, they're going to turn them upside down and wipe them off with a Lysol wipe and a Clorox wipe, and then we're good to go to share. And then at the end, I'm going to take them all and give them a bath, dry them up, and I'm going to put them right back in my books so that I can transport them home, and they'll be available for the next party. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments section. I am going to place a link to the online catalog so you guys can see all the cool stuff that's coming out. I gotta run. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll catch up with you. Thanks for watching.